Day 40, Holy Saturday. Lamentations 3, 31 through 41. Waiting with Hope. Lamentations is not a book we rush towards. It speaks from ruins, from grief that has not been resolved, from suffering that cannot be quickly explained. And yet, in the middle of long poem of loss, we hear a quiet, steady insistence, for the Lord will not cast off forever. This passage does not deny pain. It does not minimize affliction or hurry towards optimism. Instead, it holds sorrow and hope together, inviting us to remain present in the waiting. Lent often places us in that same tension. We are living between what has been lost and what has not yet been restored. Waiting is rarely passive. In Scripture, waiting often involves endurance, honesty, and trust from under pressure. The writer of Lamentation acknowledges God causes grief, and yet also insists that he does not willingly affect or grieve anyone. This paradox resists easy answers. It asks us to make room for mystery, for the possibility that God's faithfulness is not always immediately visible, but it's still real. Hope here is not rooted in changed circumstances. It's rooted in God's character. Though he cause grief, he will have compassion according to the abundance of his steadfast love. Waiting with hope does not mean pretending things are fine. It means staying open to God even when the story feels unfinished. Lent gives us permission to slow down and to remain with discomfort rather than rushing to escape it. We often want Jesus to produce clarity or relief quickly, but Scripture suggests that waiting itself can be transformative. It reveals what we reach for when control is stripped away. It exposes where we place our confidence, and it creates space for humility. This passage turns inwards towards the end. Let us test and examine our ways and return to the Lord. This is not self-condemnation, it is awareness. Waiting with hope invites reflection rather than reaction. Instead of blaming God, blaming others, or numbing ourselves, we are invited to notice what is happening within our hearts and bring that honestly before the Lord. To wait with hope is not to deny grief. It is to refuse despair as the final word. It is to believe that Jesus' mercy has not been exhausted, even when the circumstances suggest otherwise. As a church, we are learning that transformation often happens in difficult spaces. Rather than rushing through lament, as we are often tempted to do in suffering, we are to make room for grief, to reflect, and to trust that Jesus is present even in pain. Waiting becomes an act of faith, not because we are certain of outcome, but because we are choosing to remain with Jesus in uncertainty, trusting that he is at work for our good. Lent reminds us that hope does not require resolution. It requires leaning in and waiting, trusting that Jesus is working in our hearts in ways that are often beneath the surface, often unseen, but always shaped by his steadfast love. Question to consider: what is the condition of your heart today? What is your heart grieving? What might it look like to test and examine your ways before the Lord? Prompt for prayer. Spend a few moments in stillness before God. You may want to name areas of grief, uncertainty, or weariness without trying to fix them. Ask Jesus for the grace to remain present and open as you wait, trusting his compassion and steadfast love even when the way forward is unclear. Lift up your heart and hands to God in heaven.